Trek announced last week that they are going to right-size their business, along with some other news. And I'm going to tell you what it means for you as a consumer going into 2024 if you're looking at buying or selling a mountain bike. So let's get at it. So guys, in case you missed it last week, John Burke, the president of Trek Bikes, came out with an internal memo to his employees mapping out what they're going to do in 2024, 25, and 26. And unfortunately, it's not great news. So let's get into exactly what he said and what I think we are going to see reading in between the lines. In an internal memo Burke sent to executives recently, he detailed the cuts that would be announced Friday. He said in addition to a 10% cut in spending, Trek would substantially reduce its stock keeping units, saying that Trek's model year 2026 SKUs would be 40% lower than model year 2024. Quote, "These are turbulent times in our business." He went on to say that the global bike market is in chaos and that high inventory levels at wholesale and retail levels leading to significant and continued discounting. He said the company has not hit its monthly sales goals for the past 15 months. He said this situation left him with three options: simply hope for better days ahead, continue to make cuts around the edges, or right-size our business to the realities of the marketplace. He said Trek would reduce overall spending by 10% with cuts to programs and positions with decisions made on or before March 8th. He said the model year 2026 inventory will be 20% lower measured in days in stock than it had been before the pandemic bike boom. All right, guys, so let's read in between the lines on what he is actually saying here. First off, not hitting your sales targets for 15 months in a row is a huge problem. They are forecasting their budgets and the amount of money they're going to spend on innovation, inventory, racing programs, employee benefits, everything based off of these sales targets. So when he says he's going to cut by 10%, that means people are going to lose their jobs. Racers are going to lose funding. They're going to do everything they can to pull back spending because they have to keep the company alive. Now, the bigger deal to me actually comes to the inventory levels. When he says he's going to pull back inventory 20%, I don't know if you noticed, but he didn't say pull back 20% from what they were operating at COVID levels. He wants to go back pre-COVID levels and then pull back 20%. What that's telling me is there's way too much inventory out in the marketplace, and a lot of it is really expensive. And they are not looking to see this demand come back at all anytime in the near future. They're looking at 20% cuts at normal levels, not the COVID level. So that speaks volumes on where John Burke thinks this industry is going to be in 2026 and beyond. Now, the decreasing SKU levels and everything else, I kind of see that happening anyway across the board. They've really gotten kind of out of hand on the amount of color choices, component choices, and everything else that you can actually order directly off manufacturers' websites, which requires them to carry too much stock of too many SKU numbers. So where does this leave Trek right now? Obviously, they have way too much money held up in inventory that is not selling, and they've got to do something pretty drastic to get that in line. And that is going to come in the form of ordering less product until that product has moved off the floor. And this is something we have seen across the board. But what we are seeing now is we have been saying this since third, fourth quarter last year and before. Now these executives are coming out and saying the quiet part out loud. The whole industry is in a mess. And now they can't just keep on ignoring the problem. They have to actually come out and try to get in front of it, even though they're really far behind, and actually make it so their employees and their shareholders actually know what's going on and think they're taking the right steps to try to keep the company financially healthy. So a lot of this right sizing is really just getting back to pre-pandemic levels when they hired on a lot more people and took on a lot more inventory that they didn't really actually need, because anyone with a brain could have seen that this was not going to last for forever. Now in a little bit more positive news, but equally as crazy, one of my favorite suspension tuners and manufacturers in the industry, Push Industries, actually released their own suspension fork. If I were to put up this wish list of everything I wanted in a fork, this would be it. Coil sprung, amazing manufacturing, tuned by one of the best suspension tuners in the industry. Everything just knocks a check on the list. It actually even includes something I didn't even know I wanted, which was a relief valve that if you're riding in cold weather to hot weather, or if you're changing in elevation drastically, you could keep your fork feeling the exact same way all the way through the ride. There's just one really big problem. It's $2,300, which even by today's bike price craziness is insane in itself. Don't get me wrong, it's a boutique product that's manufactured at the highest level, so I'm sure they could justify the price, and I'm sure they're going to sell out of the initial units. I just don't know how long they could keep this line going until they figure out a way to decrease the price, because it is a very small market of people that are going to spend over $2,000 on a suspension fork. It even makes the current bike prices of $11,000, $12,000 seem almost normal because this is silly. Now, this Trek news, what does it mean to you as a consumer? Well, I think we're getting pretty close to the bottom if we haven't already. I do think prices are going to continue to decrease over the next couple of months, but if you're in the market for a new bike right now, you can find some amazing deals out there. But as manufacturers have to unload this inventory, now they have to right size the price as well, which means you can get a great deal on a new bike right now. Unfortunately, if you're looking to sell your bike right now, that also means it is tanking the used market. So if you're looking for a used bike, you could find a great price, but that also means if you're trying to sell your bike and get into one of these new deals, your pricing went way down as well. We're never going to see those pandemic pricing for used bikes ever again. And with manufacturers discounting new bikes as much as they have been, it's tanking the used market. So guys, I want to hear what you are seeing out there. Are you seeing these prices decrease in your area? Hit up the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to Bike 198 for more videos like this in the future. And until then, on to the next one. Thanks, guys. See ya.